The pressure is increasing on government to ensure the finance amendment bill passes before the end of the year. Already, cabinet ministers and their assistants have been directed to support the bill and ensure Parliament passes it. The directive was contained in a letter signed by the head of civil service and secretary to the cabinet dated December 6th. This Grand Coalition Parliamentary Group meeting held at the Kenyatta International Conference Centre in Nairobi was meant to find consensus between members of Parliament and the executive. However, sources from the meeting say President Kibaki and Prime Minister Raila Odinga were hardly given any time to address the MPs. Legislators insisted the matter belonged to Parliament and would only be debated on the floor of the House. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Uhuru Kenyatta had a chance to elaborate his position, including a contentious amendment he introduced that seeks to allow government to alter interest rates based on the cost of living. MPs had opposed the amendment, arguing it would create a volatile financial situation in the country. Uhuru warned that should the finance bill fail to pass Parliament by December 31st, government business would simply shut down and the finance sector collapse. ODM Chief Whip Jakoyo Midiwo is understood to have stood by his proposed amendment to cap interest rates charged by banks by at most 4% above the central bank base lending rate. In the current scenario where CBK has set the base lending rate at 18%, it would mean that banks would be allowed to charge a maximum of 22% interest on loans. Already, some banks are charging as much as 30%. 3 hours after the heated meeting, members emerged and left the venue without giving a joint statement as they usually do. Even Prime Minister Raila Odinga was not willing to give a statement, leaving the job to Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka.
You see, these were informal consultations. We stress informal consultations because some of the items are items in the order paper in Parliament, and the executive respects what will go on in Parliament.
There is a conclusion that all these matters will be concluded on the floor of Parliament. Yes. That is a conclusion.
The Grand Coalition Parliamentary Group meeting has failed to yield fruit. The deadlock continues, and now all eyes turn to Parliament, where the next showdown will be. Backbenchers are confident that if government cedes ground, they can beat the December 31st deadline and pass the Finance Bill 2011. However, government continues to maintain its position on the Finance Bill. Well, it seems to be a case of who blinks first. The debate was to continue into Parliament, with Ikolomani MP Boni Khalwale querying the legitimacy of the parliamentary group meeting held earlier in the afternoon, driving the Prime Minister to the defense.
The Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for Langata is in the House. Probably he might wish to use this opportunity to explain to the Chair why he chose to address us on this issue from Kenyatta International Conference Centre and not come and take up his seat as the chairman, as the MP for Langata, and contribute on this matter, Mr. Speaker.
There is nothing implementary, Mr. Speaker, from political parties meeting as parliamentary groups to discuss and, Mr. Speaker, agree on positions that they are going to take on matters that are before this House, Mr. Speaker. This is usually a normal parliamentary practice, even in the House of Commons.
I commit myself to give directions as necessary tomorrow afternoon.
The Finance Amendment Bill is scheduled to be debated Wednesday. Will MPs and the executive break the stalemate and save the country from a financial crisis? I'm Soy-Mwendia, KTN Prime.